This is not working, so I'm just gonna give me a moment. I can't get this chat to work. Okay. So I'm going to go back here. What's up, Brad? I'm just going to go back and look at the messages I missed, because I missed some. Okay, cool. Just everyone saying hi. Nice. How do you feel about the yearning not live stream anymore? I've been thinking about it a lot, but I feel a little bit both ways. I'm looking forward to not having to have a lot of technology on me all the time and stuff like that, but I'm definitely gonna miss certain aspects of it. But I haven't thought about it too much. It's still pretty early. I have a long way to go. Keep in mind, I think doing a project like this for 1 month. Oh, I'm gonna go turn this light off. I think that streaming your entire life for 1 month is would be a big project. So I still have 2 more of those. It's like the year is definitely far from over. The meaty guy, salty, support each other. Michael, for the record, you could sell a hoodie with Harley's face on it for $70. Do you think people would enjoy having your very own Michael Gerry? Do you think you would enjoy having your very own Michael Gerry in your life, as in you're the viewer? Yeah, definitely. I've said that a lot of times. I think that the reason I'm doing this project is because it's the thing that I was the most interested in, and if someone else was doing it, I would love the project, and I'd probably watch it all the time. I think this has tons of hooks for society and people at large, and reasons why people would want to watch it, and I would be susceptible to all those reasons, so I'd totally watch it. And I also think that at some point people will do this, so that I will have that experience of watching someone else do this project, and it will be very cool. We were waiting for you to talk. Damn, yeah, sorry about that. Hi, Michael. What's everyone? Topher, cool. Harley doesn't know how to use the stairs inside the house. He doesn't. I was going to make them so that he could use them. I was going to put some carpet on them because I'm worried about him slipping and getting injured. But because we're only going to be here for 2 more months, I'm not really sure if it's worth it. I might do it anyways. We'll see. So what's your plan if the project ends? Danny Cho, I don't have a very solid plan. We low-key died. With only 2 months to go, anything you still want to add content-wise? Yeah, I've said a couple times that I wanted to include at least one instance of sex in the project because that's an important aspect of life. But there have been I don't know, I've gotten a lot of blowback about the sex topic in general recently. A lot of people oh, don't do it and stuff, or just things like that. I think that just to kind of clarify on that subject, it's not something that I'm actively pursuing, or I feel is so important that I would be sacrificing other aspects of the project for it. It's just, in my opinion, it would add to the completeness of the project if it happened. Other things, I'm going to do a trip to, it looks like, I have to tally up the votes total, but it looks like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna see what the trip ended up being real quick. It was basically, I'm gonna do a trip, and I had a patrons vote on it, and it was basically between California and New York City, and so we have all the responses. Okay, it's been decided. It is trip to New York. Nice. That's cool. I think that's the best location for it, so I think it makes sense. So yeah, to answer that question in a really complicated way. Not a question, but I wanted to say I love your analogy about the audience in the second episode of the podcast, and like, imagine your. Thank you, appreciate that, Burn. I felt like it was a good analogy too. Was there a time in this project where you'd like to talk to yourself so bad but can't because you know people are watching? Not that I want to talk to myself, but I actually really liked doing. If any of you guys have watched the Livestream announcement manifesto, then this would make sense to you. But I used to do this thing where, like earlier in any time before this year, where I would kind of record myself and my thoughts and like what my personality was like and just what was going on in my mind and how I spoke. I would just like set up a camera and then just kind of talk about my life for a little bit. Every couple months I would do that. And so I did one of those kind of when I was getting ready for this project. And it ended up, it's a really complicated story, but it ended up kind of being a piece of content that fit in as like an announcement of the project and like where my mindset was and how like kind of drastic the situation that I was in. What I don't know, it's really hard to explain. I'm doing a bad job, but basically, I've never really wanted to talk to myself, but that is sort of like talking to myself, but talking to myself through a camera for the future to look back on and see myself and then listen to myself. So in a way, and I haven't done that. How crucial is it to you? How crucial is it to the nature of your project that you actually interact with people that directly communicate with you? I don't think it's actually crucial. I'm assuming you're talking about like DMs and stuff, and I actually don't think it's even remotely crucial. I think that I could toss all that to the side, and it would still be the same project that I wanted to do from the beginning. But I really enjoy it, and if people are interested in this project, then I don't know, I probably want to talk to them, and so in general, it's like something that I get a lot of enjoyment out of, and I do feel like people are giving me their time by like being a part of this and supporting it in whatever way that they have. So I do feel like it's nice to like give some of my time back, at least when possible. But obviously it's not possible all the time. I hope that was the right. I don't know if that was your question or not. I'm still hoping the project will continue for many years to come. Meet a guy answering questions on YouTube. I'm answering all them, but it just they all appear like. Have you heard from Judd at all recently? I miss his presence. I agree, Naomi. I think that Judd may have moved on. Just hire a hooker. Yeah, I got it. I know. Do you have moments where you wish a particular person or person were watching? That's a good question. No, I don't know, because as much as like, no, I don't think so. Trying to cover your mouth with the mic. Okay. I forgot. I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing. Don't let anybody stop you. I like what you're doing. Thank you. This is exciting. California is too basic. NYC. Yeah, NYC is the decision. I think it'll be cool. I don't know what I'll do next year's too, because I wake up every day thinking, what is Michael doing? My vote is not New York. Too bad, Shelby. Cool, maybe you can watch SNL while you were there. Thank you. New York was my third pick. You haven't had sex in a long time as an indirect result of the fact that you stream everything on camera. Close to impossible to find partners. What effect has this temporary celibacy had on you? I don't think it's had a big effect. Like, I guess I like don't have a lot of sex in general because I feel like there's always some circumstance going on in my life that like prevents me from just doing that a lot. But I would say going like a couple months. What is it? I don't know. However long it's been, I don't think it's that would be a big change from like something normal. I haven't had like an extraordinarily active sex life since you started the project. Have there been instances you've regretted having in the stream? Yes, absolutely. Valvo and Chicago were my top two. Naomi, not to fret. I think that we'll probably be able to attack those on. It was more of a decoy vote, you know. I knew everyone was going to pick New York, and then I get to announce that I think that we'll be able to include Chicago and Valpo probably in that trip. Just make it a longer thing. So we'll see. If you were in a bad mood, do you prefer to be left alone or have someone cheer you up? That's a good question, Xenox. I think it depends on why I'm in a bad mood, or like what sort of mood exactly. In general, I gravitate towards like alone time in those situations, but sometimes it can be helpful even if you don't want it to have someone cheer you up. When you work out, do the headstand thing, what exactly is the exercise for? It's just basically to get better at handstands. That's it. And I think it's good. Apparently it's good for you to like be inverted as well, but it's not as big of a reason. So much to do in New York City. Which of the quotes on your wall will apply most to your life right now? Well, they're all like these cards that my mom got me. It's like all gratitude quotes, and so they all have to do with gratitude. Two good ones. Remember that what you now have was once among the things you only hoped for. That one might be probably my favorite. And then another really good one is, my work is loving the world. So I think they're both applicable. Are you and Eaton doing No Shave November? We are. A huge announcement. Can you describe what's on journal? You have to elaborate on that, Burn. I'm not sure what you mean. Is there any part of you that's sad this chapter of your life will be over soon? Yes, absolutely. Have you developed deep friendships with any of your male viewers? Yeah. I've pretty much only developed deep friendships with my male viewers, except for Shelby and Naomi. But yeah, aside from that, it's just males. What is the point of this project, by the way? It's up for interpretation, / there is no point. If IDK, if you already have answered or not. What are your favorite songs to play when you're working out, or in tonight's case, skating? It's slightly different for both. In the beginning of the year, I really liked listening to Logic when I worked out, and then it was Token. So that's like kind of upbeat, fast, like rap. But recently I like listening to like sorority noise type music, so like just kind of intense rock. Because that does the job for me better. But it depends, definitely. Skating, it could be anything. Like, I was listening to a lot more like borderline emotional music skating today. Just, whatever fits the vibe, whatever you're in the mood for. Sex life, what is that? I've never heard of it. Hi, everyone. Yay, people will miss you after this project. You should do some Instagram Live for your fans. I personally don't like Instagram Live. I've only done it like twice, but I think that it's weird. And I don't like going to other people's Instagram Lives either. It's like a very weird platform live thing. I don't know. It's weird. Regarding college, to take a devil's advocate perspective, what would you say to convince yourself that maybe you haven't given it a fair chance? You might like it a lot more than you did before. What? So to be devil's advocate to myself to convince me to go back to school, I would say that I haven't tried it in a few years, so it might be different. But to kind of answer that question, if that's a question, I took a gap semester, right? That was the original idea after my first half of sophomore year. And then like partway through, I kind of realized like there's no way I'm going back to school. Like I really like life the way that it is now, and I hated life being in school. So like clearly I'm headed in the right direction, not the wrong one. And but then summer occurred, and then my parents were like, go back and do school again, right? Your gap semester's over. And so I re-enrolled knowing that there was like a 90% chance that I wasn't gonna like it. Or maybe that's not fair. I probably re-enrolled thinking there was like a 55% chance I wasn't gonna like it. And then I went to a few classes on the first day, and it was like driving into the wrong neighborhood in Chicago. Like I was aware that I was not supposed to be there, and it was pretty obvious. And I could talk about that. There's like actually a really specific, not interesting at all, but super intricate story that kind of explains that. But it's just like it was painfully obvious that I did not belong there, and so then I dropped out, and I felt like that was a really good experience that showed me that was not right for me at the time. When was the last time you changed your opinion, belief about something major? I guess one thing would be to loop it back into this project. If you asked me a month and a half ago, or maybe it's close to 2 months now, I don't know. At some point in the recent past, I was planning on continuing doing the project after the year, and now I'm not. So that is technically something major. Congrats on winning Fear Factor. Would you like to be a contestant on any of the reality or TV shows? Perhaps one with higher prize money, The Amazing Race, Survivor. No, I didn't like reality TV. It wasn't for me. I wouldn't want to do it again. There's a lot that could go into that answer, but yeah, in short, I would not want to do it again. What do you think the value of privacy is, or how your take on it will change when this project is over? What do you think the value of privacy is? I think the value of privacy is whatever the value of the is equal to whatever the value of the moments that you have private that are special. So privacy can make things more special, and I think that is the value. If something's really special and it's private, then maybe it has like a higher value. I don't know how my take on it will change when this project is over. I have no idea how I'm going to like fit back into normal society. What is your decision that your uncle offers you? Short answer, basically no. I technically haven't said that yet, but it's pretty obvious that that's like the opposite of the life path that I've chosen and that I think is right for me. That's a great question. Share with us some pickup lines that have worked well for you. None. Never have I ever used one that has worked well for me. What book are you reading? Oh, well, one time one worked well for my friend. And then I tried it like 100 times afterwards, and it never worked. But actually, this has worked a couple times. It doesn't work to get me like a girl or anything, but I just see someone, and then I'm like, hey, this is my friend X, right? And I did it with two of my friends at different times, and it worked really well with my first friend almost every time, but it only worked with this other friend one time. So that's a good one if you want to help your friends out. It creates like awkward tension between those two people, and like I'm the antagonist because like I introduced them, but then they have that common like, oh man, that guy just made this awkward between us, and so it's kind of an icebreaker, and then they might as well talk, you know. What book are you reading? Looks like a self-help book. I'm reading a couple. One's a like a one's about a grand piano, or like trying to buy a grand piano, and the one that I was reading downstairs is sort of like a philosophy self-help book. It's by Epictetus or something. But someone named Matt sent it to me and recommended it, and it's pretty good so far. Since you don't have a routine life, do you plan your days, weeks, or do you just go with the flow? It's like part both. I try and plan things a little bit, but I also know that I'm never going to stick to any plans that tightly, so I definitely give myself room to make things up as I run into new circumstances. I was about to say, ouch. Would you consider yourself an introvert or extrovert? I would definitely consider myself an introvert, but at the same time, I feel like those are really, personally, I think that those are like labels that actually don't mean very much. Good answer, though. Can you describe your brand of vanity? In what ways are you vain? In what ways are you vain? I need to look up what vain means. Having or showing an excessively high opinion of one's appearances, abilities, or worth. In what ways am I vain? I think that artistically, I feel like I'm vain. I feel like I make like really good art. But I think in general, I'm not very vain. Is the allegedly catfish girl in the chat right now? Sorry for being nosy. I don't know. In the chat, I don't know. I don't want to really give any clues or indications. I don't want any guys like doing detective work or anything. I was trying to use that more as an example than like a point blame at this one person, just to like show you sort of like what mentally the process is like to go through. Would you ever consider doing a reverse Q&A where it's you that asks the questions? How about an all would you rather Q&A? I really like the first idea a lot. Reverse, I ask the questions. That's genius. I'm gonna write that down. That would be a great idea to do. I wonder. I feel like I would. No. I wonder if I'd have people like call in or just type in the chat. But that's a great idea. I think that we'll try and do something like that at some point. What's the craziest thing you've ever done, and would you do it again? What's the craziest thing I've ever done? Wow. I think this project is the craziest thing I've ever done. And when I do it again, if I hadn't done it, I would do it again. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't do it the exact same way. I wouldn't do what I just did this year again, the same, if that makes sense. I don't know. But that's my answer. Sorry, I just wanted maybe they could meet since Patreon choose New York. Thank you for your detailed answer about college. No problem. Naomi, we're coming to visit. We need Nev on the case. In the unique YouTuber space you're in, do you think it's ever possible for a completely anonymous viewer to develop a true online friendship with you? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I do. I think that friendship depends a lot more on like communication than knowing things about people. I don't know, but there obviously would be a stage where like, what's up? Hey, come here. Where you just you there was no advancing the relationship because there was just like, you know what I mean. You could have a friendship, but it could never get to a certain point. Um, Naomi, you ever come to visit? Oh, sorry. Are you still jerking off in No Nut November? I am not participating in No Nut November. I'm planning on December. Yes, literally, literally. Yeah, that's gonna be a crazy. Ed TV is the movie I think of most when I. What's up? What's up? Have you seen that movie and what do you think of it? If you did, I haven't seen it, Alistair, but people have told me to watch it, and I put it in my like list of things to watch. But I don't watch a lot of media this year, so I probably won't watch it if I had to guess. But I don't know. I guess there's no but to that. I'll watch it at some point probably. What's the worst thing that's happened to you this year, and how did you overcome it? The worst thing that happened was, um, I mean, the thing that stands out. I feel like there's maybe a better answer, but I'm so far. I'm not very fast on the questions tonight, and so I would say that time, like getting left and or like almost left, and then they came back for us eventually. But in Bloomington was definitely at least a big low of the year, and it was maybe the worst thing that happened. How did you overcome it? I came back to College Station and I rearranged my entire life. Can you do an AMA on Robot Streamer sometime? That's a good idea too. Um, what I should do, and I can do in the future, is I can actually include. Actually, no, I don't. I'll do an AMA on there. I probably don't. I was gonna say I could include it in this Q&A, but I feel like all the questions would probably be sexual, and I don't know. I wouldn't really want to answer like all those mixed in with these. What are the things that you still keep to yourself after the project is done? What are the things? Okay, so do you see yourself having to be less giving and less open to protect yourself? The things I still keep to myself are journaling. I don't show anyone my journals. That's pretty much it. I don't show like my text messages or my browsing most of the time, unless my camera's like pointed at it. But that's more for like so I don't get hacked or so I don't show other people's messages than because I keep it private. I don't really care that much about that stuff. After the project's done, you see yourself having to be less giving and less open to protect yourself. In a certain way, I think that after this project is over, there are going to be a lot of aspects about it that come back to bite me. Like this clip, like someone should take this clip in like a few years. If the project gets a lot more like attention after it's over, I think a lot of people are going to pick things out that they don't like, and they're going to make compilations, and they're going to make a big deal out of things that maybe a big deal should be made out of. But I think that I'm going to go through a lot of like bad review from other people and stuff, and I think one of the aspects of protecting myself in terms of like protecting my mental health and just kind of like creating a shield against all that, which I think is going to happen in that instance of it becoming more popular, would be not being like a public figure at that point. Because you don't want to deal with, I don't want to, there could be like lawsuits and stuff. I don't want to deal with any of that, like trying to be famous or something, you know what I mean? Like that, I would rather have nothing to lose, you know what I mean? I would rather have like an extraordinarily simple lifestyle in which if someone was mad at me, they would have a hard time even like reaching me to tell me that they're mad. And then no like money or anything to lose if someone like has a lawsuit and they're like, you invaded this privacy and you owe me 15 grand. It's like, okay, what are you gonna do? Where are you gonna get the 15 grand? Like I don't have anything. So in a way, by being less open and less giving, which would be taking the route of not trying to like be famous, I guess, or whatever, then that would be protecting myself. That's my answer. Is there something out there, a thought, an idea, a current event, or a fear that you find deeply unsettling? I am constantly like a little bit, and it fluctuates, but it's oftentimes really small amount. But I am oftentimes just a little bit on edge about the fact that anyone knows where I'm at all the time, and they know that I'm like, for like the most part, pretty defenseless all the time. So that's a little bit unsettling. But I mean, in general, I don't even keep up with current events because it's like, what's the point? I don't know what's going on. Something out there, a thought. Yeah. I definitely try and take thoughts like pretty head on. But I mean, I guess that's a very small fear. Or maybe it's a large fear, but it's like, or an average sized fear that I experience a very small amount of. Do you play Minecraft? I've played Minecraft a couple times this year. I used to play a lot when I was a kid. Do you see changes in the chat other than it's more busy compared to before? Well, I think that there's like more conversation in the chat because when chat used to be busy back in the day, it would be like the sports guys like talking about sports, Big Poppy, like just kind of random stuff and just saying whatever. But now it seems to be like more people getting to know each other, which I guess is cool. Is he reading off questions? Is he reading the questions off here? Yes. Has a project made you trust or distrust internet people more? Does it ever feel like everyone who reaches out to you has an agenda and is out to get you, or at least a part of you? I would say overall it's been a net increase in like me thinking that internet people have good intentions. The catfish thing, there's a lot to undermine that, but that's not the other people's fault. In general, the people that reach out to me are very nice, and they don't seem to like be wanting anything. Or if they are, then it's like not something that, I don't know. I don't have any problems with that usually. As long as it's kind of like transparent, or I don't know. But a lot of the people who talk to me, for whatever reason, maybe they're just nice people. They genuinely don't seem to have any agenda. And those are the people that obviously build better relationships with online. And some of the people you can tell some of the people will reach out and the first thing they'll say at some point, like, I just want you to know there's nothing, I don't want anything from you. I'm not here because of this or this. Like, I just wanted to like talk to you. And so that's nice. Is Michelle Obama secretly a man? Bro, yeah, Joseph, but there's a delay. Is Trump secretly a woman? Do you ever wonder if the people that are invested in this, in you, that are this invested in you, do you ever wonder if the people that are this invested in you would have been as invested in you if they got to know you the normal way? I think logically they would be less invested because they wouldn't have access to as much of my life. And so you can't physically get that invested. Like I wouldn't be hanging out with, if it was all of you guys, I wouldn't physically be able to hang out with all of you all the time, right? It's impossible. So you'd only get like a couple hours once in a while, if we got along, you know. And that would definitely limit the amount of investment that you could have. So no, I don't think that they would be as invested. Hi from Brazil. Was rooftop encounter in LA as cinematic as and poetic as it sounds like? I don't know. I was like borderline blacked out, so I don't really have any idea. It was a good time. Artistically vain, I like that. What would you do if when you okay, so he said yes would go? That actually is something I think about a lot. But it's just hard for me to answer. What is the meaning of life? I think the meaning of life is to try and figure out the meaning of life. What did you think of Mike? Did you just find out about JenniCam? What did you think about the NPR piece? I thought that piece was great. It was very short. I wanted way more information, but I knew about that since before I started the project. But I didn't know that piece existed because there's literally not actually that much information about JenniCam, which I think is surprising. But clearly she made an effort to like dispose of it. But I wanted more information, and that gave me more information. I liked that a lot. That's crazy that they got to talk to her. Were you always comfortable being observed like this? Did you have experiences before the stream that could be compared to the weirdness of being watched on camera? I had a lot of times where I felt like I was doing something private, and then I realized that it wasn't private. Or like I would, just a lot of times where like my privacy was violated in pretty like extraordinary ways. And it just kind of made me like lose trust in a lot of people to the point where I sort of lived my life as if everyone was watching anyways. So I got a little bit of practice, I would say. But I don't think that will ever change. If you could make a rule for a day and everyone had to follow it. But it was sort of about taking, I mean, there's like, you know, there's like your private life and your normal life. And so for me, it was like just making an effort to kind of combine those into one so that life is easier. I think that's what has happened. Clearly, if you could make a rule for a day and everyone had to follow it, what would it be? That's a great question. That's a really good question. A rule for a day that everyone had to follow. I would have I bet I could think of a better answer to this, but I'll say I would have everyone donate $1 to me. That would be the rule. Reverse Q&A. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? I would take the small horses. Can you play an instrumental song? River flows in you. I can. Nuke friends. What does X50 control do? Pauline, I don't know the answer to that. This is a project. OMG, hi, sad. Hey, Michael, what do you most often look down on people for? What do you think other people look down on you for? I don't know the answer to the second one, and I try to think about it because that would just make my life worse. But the primary one, I look down on people for dishonesty. Being facetious. Right? Is that even the right word? Facetious. That's totally not the right word. I couldn't have been worse. I don't look down on people for being facetious. I don't even know what that word means. People look down on me for my vocabulary. That's what I think people look down on me for. Oh, Harley, Xenox is asking MVP questions. Yeah, Xenox comes with good ones. You said monks. Hold on a second. You said once you were treated as a pariah at your university by your intellectually honest opinions. Could you say what they were? Huh. Oh, yeah. Okay, I think that I may have been talking about one example. I was in this class, this thematic option class, which was basically like an honors program for USC that made you like, you took literature classes instead of science and math classes. So it was really good for me. And, but there were a lot of really smart and like very progressive, like far on the left leaning scale people in there. And I think I came into it like kind of like a moderate, or not really having any sort of like political knowledge, because I didn't do any of that in high school. I was really out of the loop. So it was definitely like surprising to find out about all the stuff. And so yeah, sometimes there's one time in this class where people were talking about the teacher brought up how they built a gate around USC, like a fence around USC with a gate. And the conversation evolved into talking about there was an identification process when people came in to the school. So after 9 p.m., you have to have your ID card to come in. And then someone said, like, they were stopping Latino people. I don't know how to even say that, but yeah, that they were stopping like Latino people more than normal people for identification, like in the beginning. And everyone like gasped. And then I think I said, like, really trying to be not like cause trouble or anything, just trying to like think about why that was happening. I just said, like, wouldn't that make sense, because the surrounding area in LA, like, has a really high Latino population. And like everyone looked at me, and the teacher looked at me, and like no one said anything. And it was really awkward, and I think I got in trouble for that. And I had to talk to the teacher afterwards, which, keep in mind, this was sophomore year. So, it's not exactly like a 5-year-old talking to a teacher. But because grades are the most important thing, like, I listened to what she said, and I was like, I'm sorry for doing that. I shouldn't have said that. And then the next day, she recommended that I might apologize to the class, and I apologized to the class, and I said, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. That was a bad thing to say, or something like that. I don't know. And then at the end of the class, I told them how much I learned about political correctness, and that it makes the world better. That being said, I'm really not a big guy on politics, so I hope that didn't come across that way. It is the most loved, wanted you've ever been. Have you ever felt lonely this year despite all that love? Maybe. I think maybe is the answer to the first part of that question. Have you felt lonely this year? I kind of always feel a little bit lonely, but I guess I haven't felt like really abject loneliness that much. Yeah, that's a good answer. I've never hit absolute zero. I like Xenox's question. Man, I'm doing... We'll keep some sort of facial... Will you keep some sort of... We'll see, Naomi. We'll see how it looks. Sorry, I should have read the whole question. Will you keep some sort of facial hair that you've harvested this month in December? We're going to see how it looks. Didn't look good last time, but that was like 8 months ago. So, we're giving it another try. When this project ends, will you continue to update on your social media, or will we never hear from you again? Axe Brad, you're just going to have to wait and find out, because I don't know the answer to that question either. You're the most honest person online right now. It's so So it has to hurt that you encounter so much dishonesty as people's natural reaction to your honesty. Um, you're the most honest person online. Sometimes I think that. Sometimes I think, am I the most? And like I hope I'm really not saying this to toot my own horn or say that I'm the most honest person in the world, but like this has to be the most, at least one of the most honest projects, right? Like maybe something that's more long term could be considered more honest. I don't know. There are probably things that are more honest, but um, has it hurt? Yeah, I definitely don't. I mean, I'm really repulsed by like dishonesty and stuff like that. Just but I didn't even think about it that much in terms of being directly a contradiction to this project until the guys on the podcast brought it up, and I really liked their analysis when they talked about that. Any chances on making an OnlyFans? No. Sorry. I should read the whole question. I'm sorry. Any chances on making an OnlyFans page after this project? How did you discover the power of music? I think I discovered the power of music when I started like playing piano, which was I think in 8th grade, or like the summer between 7th and 8th grade, or maybe the end of 7th grade. I don't know, but once it became part of my life, then like I noticed changes in my personality, so that I felt that was pretty powerful. But I did some like reading of Plato and stuff, and apparently it's recommended by the old philosophers that you balance a life with both sports and the arts or music. So I think that makes sense. But before I started playing piano, my life was basically just a lot more masculine, a lot more sports, and I gained more balance from having both of those. I don't think it's good to have either without the other, maybe, for most people. Is it fair that pay sites feature your not safe for work videos and they earn money off of it? Is it fair? Probably not. I would say they should probably reach out to me and give me like money, but I did know that was going to happen, and I had to just kind of like mentally decide it's not worth the hassle. I don't really care that much. Like people are going to make money off anything, anytime, anyway, so it's not a big deal to me. If you go to New York City, maybe you can. I don't really want to make money off it that bad, so that's another aspect. Like I wouldn't want to get a ton of money for like having my porn out there, you know what I mean? Maybe that's kind of a half-baked thought too, but I have no idea. If you go to NYC, maybe you can make an NYC Livestream channel. Law. Have you considered TTS donations people can talk to you throughout the day? I have considered that leap. The biggest reason I haven't done that is because technologically I couldn't figure out how to do it in a reliable way. Because I'm really bad at technology, apparently. Who is your biggest inspiration? My biggest inspiration for this project is Chris Burden. Sniper Kid, hey friend. Leo Arga, you like Argentina? Sure. How are you different now? It's almost a year since your manifesto announcement. What would you send that younger version of you a message if you could? I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't say anything at all. I would want them to go through the same process of evolution that I have without any changes whatsoever. I would want them to get to the point that I'm at right now, exactly, with no differences. Good night, Michael. I'm going to head out. See you, Fernando. What's the one thing that people always misunderstand about you? Well, I think that this year they misunderstand that I have like malicious intentions because I have a camera on my shoulder. In general, I want to answer that. I know that was not the question that you wanted answered. I don't know. I guess people probably assume that I'm a douche right away, but I'm really only partially a douche. You know, most of me is not actually a douchebag. I can't believe this project is almost over, man. Ian live. Do you think you've grown in this project? Are you going to continue making videos after it's over? I will continue making videos. I can't really talk about because I don't know what sort of videos I'll make or if they'll be public or what, but probably won't ever stop making videos, at least for a long time. What's the most romantic gesture you've witnessed or been a part of? Romantic gesture. Wow. That's a good question. I don't know if I would want to answer that in terms of my own life. I can't really think of anything. I bought Ethan a pair of handcuffs for his birthday so that he could use those with his girlfriend, who was already his ex-girlfriend at the time. So that was pretty romantic of me for him and his girlfriend. Does any of this feel like you're in a cocoon developing and improving yourself inside out to prepare for you to face the world? It's the best version of yourself in 2020. Yeah, but I also feel at the same time like there's really no point in, like, I'm going to go back into the, like, not the world and, like, so many of the things or, like, skills and traits and stuff that I've been, I guess, like, developing and improving. Just, I feel like a lot of it just won't matter as much. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen, but in a way I do feel like that, or at least in part I did. I think it's a good question. Good thing you're jacked in case someone jumps you. Well, first of all, I wouldn't stand a chance. Second of all, I'm definitely not jacked. Third of all, I really hope someone doesn't jump me in New York. What specific element or aspect of Livestream do you enjoy or look forward to the most? Specific element. I like being able to look back on and, like, manipulate segments, like video pieces of my life. I like that everything is recorded. It's really cool. I like that I can go back to any time and see what actually happened at any given time. I think that's great. I like the Q&As. I like all the people that I get to talk to, like, digitally, and then some of them in real life because of the digitally. Don't know what that means. Different language. What would you do if a real life friend told you they watched your not safe for work activities regularly? I would probably laugh. I wouldn't really know what to do. I wouldn't probably do anything. What are you proud of but never had an excuse to talk about? I guess to answer that question better, if it was like a girl, then if it was a girl that I was interested in, then maybe I would ask more questions. What are you proud of but have never had an excuse to talk about? That's a great question, but I'd have to contradict my statement about not being vain earlier to answer it. I actually don't know if I have an answer. I think that, like, so everything that I do, like a lot of the good things that I do, or the things that I'm proud of, like a lot of it gets acknowledged through the project. And sometimes, like, over acknowledged even. So I definitely wouldn't want to, I don't know. What are you proud of? I don't think I have a good answer. Which of your exercises is responsible for glutes? Teach us your ways. Is that butt muscle? I think soccer and maybe rollerblading. When you move into your Prius, other than following the band you like, are there any places? That was a joke, by the way, Gabrielle. I was kidding. I was talking to the girl that she is like a musician. I was just joking that I was going to follow her. That's what I was insinuating. Any places I want to visit? Interestingly enough, I really wanted to go to New York City at some point, but I think it's great that I get to do it as part of this project because that's a better way to check it off my checklist than to go in a Prius, I think. Well, I will still be going there in Prius, but just kind of going with the project and my friend, I think it's a better way to do it. But any places you really like? I don't know. One indication of where I might go is like you always want to follow the good weather. If you're living in a vehicle, you follow mild climates, mild or brisk. A little bit cold is better than a little bit warm. Okay, bye guys. I'm getting off. See you. Please say "Hola, Argentina." If you were if you were a fart, would you be a loud and proud type or a silent but deadly type? Wow, that's a gross question to answer, but maybe silent but not stinky. That's what I would be. Just completely almost undetectable. GZNX, that's deep. Do you believe that your heart can recover fully from your toxic and yeah. Yeah, I think I can recover no problem. It's definitely a bad experience, but I understand everything happens for a reason sometimes, and I don't know. I think that I learned from the experience. I don't know. What exactly is Discord Tuesday? You know I can't answer that, Pauline. When and how do you decide whether or not to share? Sorry, Leap, I'm just gonna skip that question. I just don't want to answer questions like that. When and how do you decide whether or not to share? Sorry, when and how do you decide whether or not to share something to your viewers? Like the convo you had with the catfish. When does it cross the line? I think you could argue that me sharing that potentially crossed the line, but in general, I don't share like private conversations and stuff like that. And if I'm going to talk about something or someone, then if I feel like it might invade their privacy, then I always make an effort to like keep them anonymous to the best of my ability. Just, I mean, nothing is perfect, but don't use their names and stuff. But yeah, generally, if I'm deciding what to share, what not to share, if it's like something that's really private that I think would affect someone else, then I would avoid that. And if it's not, then it's like something that gets shown, then that's what it is. That's part of the project. Do you have Brazilian friends? I do. Yeah, I think I have 2 Brazilian friends. And they're both cool guys. They were my pledge class. If you could tell your former self one thing right now, what would it be? I think it'd kind of be the same answer as the other thing. Like, I wouldn't tell myself anything. I wouldn't want to change the way that my life unravels at all. Now that you've quite literally done everything on camera, would you do typically embarrassing nudity-related things like pose naked for art class or go to a nude beach or even do actually modeling? Honestly, I mean, maybe go to a nude beach, but I don't know. I don't feel like I just like the way that I think about myself, I just feel like I don't know if I'd be comfortable doing like posing naked for an art class or doing actual modeling. I don't want people to like praise my naked body because I don't know. I just don't think it's like should be an object of praise. I mean, it's not that. I hope I didn't just open a bag of worms with that statement. It probably just came out the wrong way, but a bag of worms, a can of worms. I don't even know what I'm saying. Yeah, to answer that question, that was the answer to the question. I know you say you don't know how to react, but so when people say that you basically have the perfect body, what does that do to your own body image? Well, nobody says that. I think Ethan was saying that he has trouble reacting to that. When people compliment me in like a majority of ways, I just say thank you. That was not even the question. What does that do to your own body image? I feel like I'm fairly in tune with like what my body looks like and what my face looks like and stuff, and so I don't have a hard time like reality checking myself. I don't let my like ego get inflated or deflated overly over anything in specific. Anything in particular? Um, what part of life do you find? Okay, we're on extra credit zone here. Let's see. Okay, good. All right. So this is the end of the questions here. I'll just finish these up. What part of life do you find meaningless? I guess like a lot of work could be meaningless. If you're doing work just to pursue money or something, and like you're sacrificing your values and your just like everything that you care about, then maybe that's meaningless. Lastly, what do you think is your best looking angle? Okay, so I read that, Pauline. You should tell me because I don't know what my best. You said there's a correct answer to this. I don't know what my best angle is, and I don't know what the correct answer is, but I would love to hear from you. And if you don't get to answer it here, then DM me with that information. I need to know. How would you summarize your life purpose? um, I don't know. To have a good time. Is answering some of your mods' questions exhausting? No, it's not exhausting. I really like my mods' questions most of the time. Will you have sex on camera before all this is over? It's the only thing I can think of that you haven't done so far. Tyler shows such a stigma around something so normal, but does the idea intimidate you? It's a great question, which I sort of addressed in the beginning of this Q&A, which you might have missed. But yeah, no, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if I will or not, but I think that it would be an important thing to include if I had like an opportunity that was sort of like a nothing artificial, obviously, just something that like was a part of my life that happened, and there was an opportunity for that, which I feel like is a rare opportunity in the first place, and then the circumstances around like live streaming it and stuff, and having someone be okay with all the whatever, just potential everything that's attached to that. It's just a lot. So I think there's not an extraordinarily high percentage chance that it happens, but yeah, I plan to, like I would want to if there was an opportunity. The idea intimidates me a little bit, but I think it's important. Who do you know? Who you know who Ice Poseidon is? I do know who that is. Thank you for answering my questions. Absolutely, Xenox. Thanks to all the mods. I didn't realize you're in the chat. Ian, how many HDD? I don't know what that means. Do you start making the odds again? 30 seconds. I could, Shelby, but it's a lot of work. It was like at least an hour, sometimes 2.5, 3 hours. So it would be intense, but yeah, I like those. I just don't know if I could balance it with everything else. You should do a Q&A once a week after the stream. It's not a bad idea, Josh. I feel like I won't be an important enough person after the stream is over to make that worthwhile. It's just like, what am I, like, what would you guys just, I don't know. This is important. I'm doing Q&As because this is an important project, and I am like an important aspect of the project. Say I'm like half the project is me, maybe at the most, right? Like, so I'm an expert witness to the project, and I can answer questions about it and like what the experience of going through is like. But after that, I'm just gonna be a person. So maybe it would be more like a hangout. But definitely would have no reason to do Q&As. Project ends that your life will get worse in some ways. All right, I won't answer any that go past here. I'll just answer this one. Are you worried that once the project ends, your life will get worse in some ways? Yeah, I definitely think my life will get worse in some ways after the project ends. I'll just scroll through and see if there are any good ones. From Rye, I'll answer that one. I knew this would happen to you. Do you expect the following that you have right now? You have 103 people live with you. Yeah, I did expect that following. I expected a bigger following for the project. I expected that a lot of people would be interested in this type of project. But thank you. Okay, sweet. Thank you, guys. That is all the questions. Thank you for asking your questions. Thank you for coming and listening to the answers. And thank you for being a part of the project in whatever way that you have been.